Breaking headline today in New York City. The image of the deadly crane collapse not far from the World Trade Center.
On a winter morning in New York City, a 565-foot steel giant, the Liebherr LR 1300, designed to lift nearly 1 million pounds, towered above crowded streets in Tribeca. For years, cranes like these shaped the skyline, symbols of progress and engineering might. But in the heart of Manhattan, a single miscalculation turned that same marvel into a weapon of devastation. The collapse didn't just shatter concrete. It claimed lives and exposed a flaw in the rhythm of city construction. As the dust settled, one question remained. How could the machinery that builds a city so quickly become its deadliest threat? The true story of When Giants Fall begins here. The Liebherr LR 1300 SX wasn't just tall. It was massive in every direction. Its base stretched nearly 29 feet wide and 37 feet long, a steel footprint that covered more ground than a city bus terminal. Anchoring this machine was a counterweight package, tipping the scales at almost 600,000 pounds, heavier than a fully loaded passenger jet. Stacked behind the operator's cab, these slabs of steel balanced the soaring boom and luffing jib above. From the controls, the operator sat stories above street level, peering out across a maze of cables and trusses. With the boom and jib combined, the crane's reach extended 565 feet into the Manhattan sky, nearly the height of a 50-story tower. On Worth Street, this wasn't just equipment. It was a moving structure, engineered to tame gravity itself. Worth Street in Tribeca is no wide boulevard. In winter, snowbanks and parked cars squeezed the roadway to barely 2 lanes, leaving only narrow sidewalks for morning commuters. Old brick buildings lined the block, their facades dating back a century or more, everyone within reach of the crane's boom. By 8 a.m., the street was already alive with activity. Delivery vans double-parked, office workers hurrying toward the subway, and parents guiding children past orange barricades. Construction fencing and temporary walkways funneled pedestrians almost directly beneath the crane's shadow. There was no way to avoid it. The machinery loomed overhead, its steel cables and latticework cutting across the skyline. For thousands of New Yorkers, danger was measured not in distant warnings, but in every step taken along this crowded, constricted stretch of city street. At 6 a.m., the crane crew stepped onto Worth Street, their boots crunching through patches of old snow and fresh slush. The operator, Kevin Riley, climbed into the cab as the rigging foreman checked the latest weather report. Winds were already gusting, with forecasts warning of stronger bursts by mid-morning. The city's safety protocols called for stowing the boom whenever gusts neared 20 miles per hour, and by 8 a.m., the order was clear: lower the main boom. Riley eased the controls, bringing the massive structure down from nearly vertical to a 69.4-degree angle, as recorded in the crane's log. Each degree meant more surface area for the wind to catch, but the crew pressed on, eyes fixed on the gauges and the sky above. Time felt compressed, the window for safe maneuvering shrinking with every minute. The decision to keep lowering, despite the mounting gusts, would soon define the morning's fate. At 8:25 a.m., a gust measuring over 25 miles per hour slammed into the exposed boom. The crane's base rocked. Then the entire structure tipped, folding under its own weight. In seconds, 565 feet of steel crashed down, crushing cars, flattening scaffolding, and sending a shockwave through Worth Street. The sound was described as an explosion. Glass shattered, alarms blared, and the city's routine vanished in a cloud of dust and twisted metal. David Wicks, walking to work, was struck and killed instantly. He was only 38 years old, known for his quiet brilliance and kindness. Nearby, 2 others were pinned beneath debris, their lives forever altered in the chaos. First responders rushed in, weaving between mangled vehicles and panicked crowds. The street, moments before just another part of the morning commute, was now a disaster zone marked by loss, confusion, and the unmistakable cost of a single, fatal error. Lowering the boom from near vertical to a 69-degree angle might seem routine, but the crane's entire physics changed with that move. As the angle dropped, the exposed surface of the boom and jib caught more wind, turning hundreds of feet of steel into a giant sail. Without any load hanging from the hook to help anchor the structure, the wind's force acted directly on the boom, multiplying torque at the base. The crane's onboard computer tracked every adjustment, recording the shift in balance as gusts hit. With each degree, the margin for error shrank until a single, sharp gust was enough to overcome the counterweight and tip the machine. Once the limits were breached, the collapse was set in motion. Regulators responded by rewriting the city's crane rules, setting a firm 20-mile-per-hour wind threshold for shutdowns and requiring every site to appoint a certified lift director. The Department of Buildings cited human error in nearly 90% of crane accidents, calling these changes overdue. Developers and contractors pushed back, arguing the new rules would slow projects and add costs, but the city held its ground. On February 5, 2016, a 565-foot crane weighing over 1 million pounds collapsed onto Worth Street, killing one person and injuring 3 others. Official reports confirmed the crew ignored a city wind limit of 20 miles per hour, with data logs showing gusts reached 25 miles per hour at the time of the accident. The Department of Buildings suspended the operator's license and implemented stricter wind safety rules. Yet some details, such as internal crew communications and decision-making, remain undisclosed in public records. The investigation found that over 90% of crane collapses involve human error, highlighting how even advanced technology cannot compensate for lapses in judgment. Today, every major New York City crane operation requires a dedicated lift director, a direct result of this tragedy. The Worth Street collapse stands as evidence. In the heart of a city built by machines, the greatest risks still come from the choices people make.